Alrighty, I'm up here establishing my canopy anchor to work from for the day. And I'm looking around, I'm looking at this tree. And I spent a whole bunch of time looking up at this tree before I got up here, just worrying about how I was going to do it, trying to plan it out, trying to figure it out. And once I got up here, the first thing I did was completely throw that plan out the window because I saw new opportunities I didn't see before I was up here. And so it just goes to show that you can have all the plans in the world, but they may not mean a whole lot until you get to actually working. Alright, so I want to show you our rigging setup here, just because it's really high in this tree, because this tree is really decurrent. As you can see, lots of tops up here. I could have just hung the block on here, but it would have put a lot of force on this limb trying to rip it off out of this union here. So I backed it up with a ring right here, a redirect, and what that does is that makes this rope angle pretty much, I mean, I can't let it go because it'll disappear, but it hangs about here with gravity, and that rope angle puts the force direction straight down this limb here. And that's the strongest way that this limb is that. Now these two as a whole will still get pulled over a little bit, but at least they'll take the stress out of this union, and which is the weakest part of the setup, and give us a good chance at success today. So just a little ring with just a little bit of a redirect will make a big difference for you. It's definitely worth doing. Alrighty, I try to start just about every day when we're rigging with a low risk rig. So we've got this dead limb here, reaches out to Crimson King over there and everything, and it's not super heavy or anything, but we got tied on just over yonder, and we're going to cut off down there, and we'll lower it straight down. Now it should be a pretty calm, tame experience. You ready?
Yeah.
Alrighty, there it is. Go ahead and let that down at your leisure. My word. Words are hard today, apparently. Alright, so we've got this one tied probably close to balance point, maybe a little bit beyond. I wanted to be a little bit beyond as a goal probably, but you know, close to it. So I'm going to cut it right here just to keep ourselves out of that crotch and not be too hard to cut. And what our grounds person is going to do is they're going to hold it high until it clears the maple, and then they'll start to let it down a little bit. Yeah, it's stuck up here. I am not doing good with my predictions on where I want stuff to go today. Go ahead and walk up to that GRCS without letting anything down. Yep. And wrap that drum full, and we're gonna lift this piece now. Okay. Yeah, because it's too much for me to lift up here over this limb that I got stuck on. We're still fairly close proximity to this maple, so what we're going to do is I've redirected the rigging point to right above us, and I'm going to hinge this away from the tree a little bit. It'll brush a little bit, but it will be pretty non-violent. We're going to just cut it right here so it's a nice butt tie, and we'll hang it up, and then we'll let it down. There are some wires over there that we got to be careful about, but this branch should not reach them. Should be just short of them. So we'll cut a nice long, nice wide open hinge, make sure it tucks under good. It'll be good to go. Yeah, that worked out great. Okay, this is the butt log from that last limb. We're gonna have our groundmen let it run just a little bit to get it below us, because it's gonna swing out and swing back a little bit. There, that was perfect. Now, while I was here, my rope goes over to that side, but in order to help me come up with a really stable work position to make that cut, I installed a quick little redirect right there. and I probably didn't have to, but otherwise I would have been fighting my rope a little bit more. And something that I had a hard time grasping when I first started climbing was that it's okay to set up something like a redirect just for one single work position. You know, you don't have to get a ton of value out of a redirect by using it 6 times in the same spot to really benefit from it. All right, now for this limb here, we have 2 options. We could either pull it up this way with the GRCS, or we could use this redirect and swing it this way and lower it down just like that last one. And I'm going to choose to do that because it just has less distance to go. It's less risky. Standing this whole thing way up with how high and close we are to a rigging point just isn't a great scenario, and you got to be careful with those kind of things because the butt can kick out and get you, and we don't want to produce a situation like that. So I'm going to tie this out about the same length out there. It'll be butt heavy, and it'll go pretty smooth. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hinge on this so that it kind of swings down towards where a rigging point is going to want to swing it to, just to keep the hinge from wanting to fail and fight the rope and everything like that. And then while he's holding it high, I'll cut it the rest of the way off, and the butt will swing down over that way. Okay, she's cut off. I'm going to kick this butt off. Alrighty, you can go ahead and let that down. Something that's worth mentioning is that on a tip tie, when that tip is going to lift up and crash into other brush, that can kind of help slow the swing of things, and it's not all bad. It can also get stuck, which can be a challenge, but if you play your cards right, it'll work to your advantage. So what we're going to do on this one is I've moved our rings down, our redirect down a little bit, and we're going to negative rig the top out of this. So what that means, if you're not familiar, is we're going to come down to just above our redirect on our rigging rope here, and we're going to cut a notch, and then we're going to tie the rope onto the piece, and we're going to tie it across that notch, so that way we don't have to cut where the rope is. And then we'll make the back cut, and then what that'll do is that will hang this piece from right here instead of having it swing all the way back, and it'll be a little bit less violent, and it'll keep our ground man safer because it won't be swinging towards them. They can go bunch of different places, but it just won't be swinging in their general direction. And then also hopefully it will treat this maple a little bit nicer here. So that's the goal. Very good. Now that we got all the brush off of this here spar, all we got left is the wood. So we're gonna do it in 2 rigs just because our rigging point isn't super strong. So we're gonna make a hinge here and use a GRCS to fold this up. And then after that we'll probably won't fold it up, but we'll rig the rest of this piece down. All of it could be free-falled, but what we're doing is just preventing turf damage. Okay, you can go ahead and do some more cranking down there. Okay, a little bit more, and that's good. Go ahead and unwrap it down to 3 wraps and then back up. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off and it'll start to swing. Alrighty. Yep, go ahead and let her down. So we've got this last little stub. We're gonna cut it off here, and this piece by the math weighs around 330 pounds or so. So I will cut off, but we're gonna pre-tension it with the GRCS a little bit. Actually, no, we'll probably just tension it by hand. Just give me 2 wraps down there and give a good yank, and that'll allow us to just float it away. I won't cut an actual notch. I'll just let it peel because it's not gonna lay down very far because of the rope, and that'll give it a chance to kind of slowly swing into its lowering position. Keep things nice and violent, or nice and, well, not nice and violent, nice and peaceful. Yeah, go ahead and tighten that up. No, you're good.
Got 2 wraps.
Yep.
Tight.
Yeah. That looks good. Okay, we'll cut her off here. There. That's what I was trying to do. This just wasn't cooperating. Alright, I think we're gonna go out and tip that big old thing out of there next. I think we're actually just gonna send it. I'm not dropping anything. Hope that gives us a good view. We'll see. Nice work. Did 3 wraps feel good for you?
Oh yeah.
Good, good. You ready? You ready? Oh, you're fine. That was absolutely perfect. James, you keep it up and people are going to be thinking you've done this for 50 years. I want to share with you some tricks that you don't have to have a GRCS for. I don't even know if they're really tricks or just kind of the way things are done. But this piece of wood, we had 2 options. We could tie the GRCS to the tip and stand it upright and, you know, let it down that way. Or what I often like to do is on a piece of wood, especially longer ones, is tie them in the middle. That way their weight sits into the rigging rope and then you cut them off. And that way they're not jerking on things. And there she goes. You can go ahead and let that down then, James. As you've seen me do a couple of the recent rigs, you can peel stuff out depending on the species. However, you got to be super careful. No matter what species it is, you shouldn't be peeling something in a way that's going to threaten your lanyard. And you also just got to be careful you don't end up peeling down all the way down the tree and making a big mess out of things. So it's kind of a dicey game with peeling. So what we're going to do here is I've got this line tied, probably not quite up past the balance point. This piece is over the house a little bit and our rigging point's way over there. I'm going to tip it this way, and what that's going to do is that's going to load the line and swing it nice and gentle. Okay, here we go. Alright, worked out pretty good. Nice. Woo. That was a little more violent. Call that a helicopter rig. I'm gonna stand this piece up with the GRCS. It's pretty big and long, but it's gonna be okay. Okay, we got that hinge cut. Go ahead and crank on that some. Look at that thing. Just a going. Okay, you can stop. I'm going to cut it off, so just stand back a little bit. Ooh, that's a lot of weight on that spar. Yep, go ahead and let it down. Real nice. Nicely done. That was sweet. Real good job, guys. Alrighty, gang. I really wanted to just hinge these branches here down and under and that kind of thing, but I resisted the urge because we're over the septic and it's not the appropriate thing to do. So I've got all 3 of these on the same rig here. We've got just a once around that one, we've got a running bowline here, and then I've used that sling that I've normally been using for this. So what's going to happen is we're going to cut this one first, so that way that has tension on it when we cut it. We'll cut this one, and then we'll cut that one last. That one split real nasty. I didn't mean for that to happen. I should have kept cutting a little bit faster. But that saves us a bunch of time instead of rigging each one of those individually. That was beautiful. That worked out really good. Thank you, James. Okay, we've reset up our rope system here. I put a redirect down there so it still goes straight into the GRCS. And we moved the block up to this stem here, and we're going to swing all this material, well, most of this stuff, this direction, and then lower it. That was good. That was real good. Now, as you can see, our rope angles, again, we've got them specifically modified so that way it puts all the force straight down this spar. Now, this spar does have, you know, a little bit of a curve like this, so it's not the strongest thing in the world, but it will serve us just fine for what we're going to do here today. Ground. There you go. That was a good one. Great job.
Oh, nice.
There we go. There she hangs. I should have just taken the whole thing. It was only another 4 or 5 feet, but I got scared. Alrighty, we're getting far enough away from our rigging point over there that things are going to start getting kind of low down there as they swing around. So we'll keep an eye on stuff. We'll have James in there hold them high, and then based on how this one goes, we'll decide how many pieces we take this one in. I'd say I went pretty good.
Oh, okay.
There was a pretty good bit of space there. I don't know, I think we'll do this one probably in 2 pieces. Alrighty, it's tied on there. 2 wraps will be plenty. Alrighty, this setup will give us plenty of clearance, even though it's got a long way to swing. So just hold it high as we have been doing. It worked out real good. I would say that was about the biggest piece we should have taken there. It felt like it got within a couple feet of the roof. Okay, we're gonna do this whole top all at once. We're gonna probably send it towards the house to get that pendulum effect and let it swing underneath. And we got plenty of room for that. So that'll give us a nice gentle loading of the rigging line. Plenty of room might have been overstatement. We did have room though. Alright, you can go ahead and tension that rope up, and probably I think just 1 wrap for this piece. It would be very nice of you if you could let it run. Just keep me from getting bounced around too much. But what we're gonna do here is we got all that stuff over there rigged out, so we're gonna move our rigging point back to its original location on that spar over there, and now allow us to get this stuff out. The reason we couldn't do this earlier is because there was too much other stuff in the way. So I really don't like the idea I had to start there, move it here, then move it back, but it's just the way things worked out. So we'll rig this piece down so it's out of our way, then we'll switch the spots and we can probably rig all this wood down from that location, and we'll be good to go. So James is gonna let this run a little bit so I don't get completely flopped around up here, and it'll be real straightforward. Or not. Come on. Nice, that was a pretty good one, James. I like that. Ooh, baby. That was good. That was real good, James. Okay, so we got this piece of wood standing here. It's tip tied up there. We're gonna send it that way. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna point it a little bit against the way the rope wants to pull it, so that way when it kind of falls into the rope, hopefully that will kind of twist off the hinge wood there. Oops, as I slip out my gaff, and give us a nice release on this hinge. Worked out perfectly. Yeah, of course it's gonna absolutely tangle up the rescue rope. What we're gonna do on this one is we're gonna send it out that way, and it'll It's gonna do what everything else has done. It's the same thing. It's just the last one, that's all. Almost the last one. We gotta get that top we're tied into out of yet. Ah. Yeehaw!
Alright?
Oh yeah, I'm great. I was just being expressive for the video. Nice, that was good. Good judgment there. Perfect. Well played, James. Does that weight feel better with 2 wraps?
Yeah, that's way better.
Alrighty, we are at the grand finale, the last top, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna free fall it right down onto our wood pile there. Not the most desirable thing, but it won't create any lawn damage, and it's the only spot I can send it. So we're pulling against the wind. It does lean that way, but the wind's been inconsistently blowing on us, so I got a pull rope for them guys down there. Perfect, just like we called it. That's the way we like it. Alright, I'm going to chunk down this wood until we've got a nice little stick there, and then we'll tip the stick over onto some of them logs we have laid out. I'm not going to include all the chunking because that's just boring. I'm bored even thinking about it.
Oh, you got it?
Nice work, gentlemen. Nice work.